You ever seriously think how the world looks from Luffy's perspective? I mean, Luffy is indeed not the brightest. We all knew that. But how does Luffy see each character in the world of One Piece? Let's find out, beginning with Roronoa's Zoro. Well, first and foremost, before anything else, Luffy sees Zoro as a punching bag. Dude was punched by Luffy more times than even his worst enemies. Now that's a captain you can depend on, right? Luffy is like, if someone is killing Zoro, then this someone will be me. But okay, on a serious note, he does see Zoro as a real brother. The amount of trust he puts in Zoro is often underappreciated, to be honest. But how about Sanji next? Easy. Luffy sees him as the world's best automatic food supplier. If Sanji stops cooking, Luffy will not survive for long. But on the other hand, he also sees him as his mortal enemy when he's hungry, the guardian of the snacks he wants to devour. But yeah, just like with Zoro, he also sees Sanji as a vital member of his crew, someone that Luffy just cannot become the Pirate King without. I mean, I know the way Luffy sees Sanji is crazy, but the way he sees Chopper is even worse. And how does he see Chopper? Well, of course, as emergency food. Sorry for that, but it is what it is. It may sound like a joke, but I'm pretty sure Chopper already memorized the shape of Luffy's jaw. That's just how many times Luffy almost ended up swallowing Chopper whole. But then again, he does trust him as much as it gets. He sees Chopper as the world's best doctor, and he knows he can count on him when he needs to. And if you thought Chopper was funny, well, think again, because the way Luffy sees Nami is even worse. To Luffy's eyes, Nami is the strongest opponent in the world. I mean, no one punched Luffy as many times as Nami. And the worst thing is that these punches seem to cause more damage than what most of Luffy's opponents do. But on the bright side, he does see Nami as probably the world's best navigator. He knows that without her, they are doomed. I mean, who's taking over the ship? Zoro? Yeah, they ain't surviving for long in that case. I mean, imagine the rest of the crew is sleeping and Zoro is on the wheel. Yep, they'll all be sleeping after that. Forever, actually, because there's no way Zoro is navigating the ship and anyone makes it out alive. But okay, a better alternative for a great night's sleep is, of course, Mantis sleep. And why should you buy this mask, you may ask? Because sleep is way more important than most people realize. After all, a good night's sleep has been scientifically proven time and time again to regulate your hormones, which in turn helps you lose fat, build muscle easier, be more alert in school and work, perform better in sports. Literally any area of your life, sleep affects it. And that's exactly why I love Mantis Sleep. Adjustable, easy to use, comfortable. These masks literally tick all boxes for a better sleep. Check Mantis Sleep by clicking the link in the description down below and using code Akagami to get 10% off your order. So what are you waiting for? Improve your sleep today by buying sleep masks from Mantis Sleep. But now, let's get back to our video. Okay, how about Luffy seeing Ace? Obviously, he saw him as a brother. Although not related by blood, he was more than a brother to him. He deeply loved, admired, and respected him. From childhood, Ace was Luffy's role model and protector, despite Ace's rough edges. And, well, let's be honest, sometimes even bullying Luffy as a child. Luffy always looked up to him. He never questioned Ace's strength and always spoke of him with pride. Well, since Ace died though, let's talk about someone alive next. Brook! You see, the way Luffy sees Brook is not like a moving skeleton. He plays music for me? Good enough. Let's have him join the crew. After joining now, Luffy sees Brook as a vital, respected member of the crew. Brook has proven time and again that behind the jokes and panty gags lies a man who's willing to face death again and again for his friends. I mean, he's already dead, but yeah, you get the point. And yet my personal favorite is this, Marco. How does Luffy see him? As a pineapple, of course. I mean, remember when he could not remember who Marco was? Then Robin casually appears and says, the pineapple guy. Well, that's all it took for Luffy to understand which person they were referring to. Well, if you think about it, Luffy was kind of valid for that one. But how about this one next? Boa Hancock. Luffy sees her as, well, just a girl. She was literally naked in front of him and dude did not even care. Dude didn't only not fold, but she was even simping for him and he didn't even care. But I mean, the worst violation has gotta be against Law. You see, we all saw Law as this strong, serious, and not someone to mess around with guy, right? Well, not Luffy. As to Luffy's eyes, Law is basically the world's best transportation system. You wanna go somewhere? Just ask Law to transfer you. Yeah, if I was Law, I'd be pissed as well. Being one of the strongest characters in the series, and yet being used as a glorified Uber by Luffy and Zoro? Yeah, that's absurd. Next in line, someone Luffy admires for a change, Shanks. The way he sees him is obviously as a role model. He does not even stand anyone talking ill about him. I mean, during during the Elbaf arc, Loki was saying a bunch of things about who he thought Shanks was. He literally told Luffy he saw him with his own eyes, and yet Luffy did not believe him. And we're now talking about the same guy that if you tell him Zoro has a good sense of direction, he'll believe it. Shanks was the one he looked up to when he decided what kind of pirate he wants to be, and he took a lot of ideals from him too. Even though he already stated he wants to fight and defeat him, we all know that Luffy will just do that to prove a point. He will still, beyond any doubt, have Shanks in the highest of esteems possible. But what does Luffy think about yet another Yonko next? Whitebeard. Well, the entire world saw him as a beast that you don't mess around with, right? Well, Luffy just casually went on to call him old man and start competing with him as if they were somehow equal. And all that while Luffy did not even know what hockey was at the time. Whitebeard could literally destroy entire countries, but Luffy chose to call him old man, as if he's this helpless little old man that needs protection. Yeah, Luffy did Whitebeard wrong, but not as wrong as he did Pika. Remember what Luffy and Zoro did once they heard him speaking? They burst out laughing, literally making fun of him to his face. If you were to talk about Pika, Luffy would not understand who you were talking about. But talk about that funny dude with the high-pitched voice? Yeah, Luffy's gonna get it right then and there. But well, Pika was not the only one Luffy made fun of to his face. We now have to check what Luffy thinks about Shirahoshi, and the way he sees her, a crybaby. And even beyond that, Luffy literally ate her food while she was crying, and he was also making fun of her for crying. And yet Shirahoshi was not the only one that got a nickname from Luffy. Next, we have Queen. How does Luffy see him? As a balloon. And he also calls him like that as well. I mean, he is fat and round, but Balloon seems like a good enough nickname. What about another nickname he gave to someone else? Let's see, Rob Lucci. Well, we all know how he sees Lucci, as the pigeon guy. I'm pretty sure that if someday he appears without his pigeon, Luffy will definitely not recognize him. Something similar occurs with Kaku as well. What does Luffy call him? Square Usopp. He's got a long nose, so oh well, he must be an Usopp as well. But since we've gone ahead and mentioned Usopp, how does Luffy see him? Well, similarly to Kaku, he just sees him as a long nose. Anyone with a long nose automatically becomes Usopp as well, by the way. But obviously, other than that, he values Usopp as a valuable comrade that he needs in order to become the Pirate King. But having said that, where does Soga King stand in this? Well, in Luffy's eyes, this Soga King fella is obviously not Usopp. Soga King is from the Sniper Island, after all. Plus, for once, Luffy's correct here. Soga King is obviously Blackbeard. Mystery solved! How does Luffy see some antagonists now? Let's go ahead and start with Akainu. Luffy sees him as someone that is definitely getting what's coming for him. The upcoming confrontation these two will have will 100% be legendary. After all, Luffy did see Akainu killing his brother, so you can be sure that Luffy will be on demon time when he sees him again. Luffy already fought Kizaru and fought on equal ground with him. Akainu's supposed to be even stronger than that. But well, Luffy just keeps on getting stronger, so we're gonna see what happens when the two of them inevitably face off. Doflamingo is next. How does Luffy see him? Rightfully, as an awful person. Luffy cannot control himself and told Law that he's going for it, aka punching him right then and there. Like, this is one of the only cases where Luffy's been right. Doflamingo is guilty of, among others, aggravated assault, sexual assault, arson, assault, attempted bribery, kidnapping, manslaughter, illegal gun manufacturing and distribution, child abuse, conspiracy, tyranny, human trafficking. I mean, I could go on and on, but I think you get the idea already. But in reality, these are all fake news. Free my boy Dofi. He ain't done nothing wrong. But a villain Luffy actually respected, on the other hand, is of course Katakuri. Katakuri fought with honor, and Luffy acknowledged it. Despite being on opposite camps, Luffy showed respect to him by covering his face once he was defeated. I could actually see Katakuri maybe teaming up with Luffy before the end of One Piece under the right circumstances. But probably the most interesting way Luffy sees an antagonist is Crocodile. Does Luffy see Crocodile as his mom? Well, not quite. I mean, okay, if this theory does come to be true, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. Luffy, for the time being, sees Crocodile as a ruthless male pirate. If this changes in the future, well, that remains to be seen. Up next is Frankie. How does Luffy see him? Well, he sees him for what he actually is, to be honest. A valuable comrade. I mean, yeah, at first, Luffy saw Frankie first as an eccentric enemy, but once Frankie's motives and ideals were revealed, Frankie joined the crew as a trustworthy crewmate. How about the rest of his crewmates now? Let's check Nico Robin. Same as Frankie, a valuable comrade. Luffy literally did anything he could to save her, even when she herself wanted to die. If that doesn't show how much Luffy cares about his crewmates, well, I don't know what does then. Moving on to Yamato. Luffy saw Yamato as a true ally from the moment they met. I mean, if you take out the initial confrontation they had, of course. But despite Yamato's strange claim of being Odin, Luffy didn't mock or question it. Instead, he accepted it with the same open-mindedness he's always shown to people who carry big dreams. What matters to Luffy, after all, isn't the identity of someone, but the strength of their conviction and their willingness to fight for others. Next up, Momonosuke. At first, Luffy saw Momonosuke as a helpless, whiny kid, but even then, Luffy protected him without question, simply because he could see the weight Momonosuke carried. Over time, as he learned more about Momo's lineage as the son of Odin and heir to Wano, Luffy didn't change how he treated him out of respect for status. Instead, he pushed Momonosuke to become stronger, to stand up and take responsibility, not just for himself, but for his people as well. In the end, Luffy saw Momonosuke's potential and made sure he would fulfill it. We already talked about Ace earlier, but how about Sabo now? Well, Luffy saw Sabo not just as a brother, but as a piece of him that he thought was lost forever. Luffy admired Sabo deeply, even when they were children. So when Sabo reappeared during the Dressrosa arc, well, let's just say that Luffy had a special, let's say, way to welcome him. Next up, Bon Clay. Luffy saw Bon Clay as one of the most unexpected yet unforgettable bonds he's ever made. During the Alabasta arc, Bon Clay was a flamboyant, comical figure with a wild personality and a flair for the dramatic. But what stood out to Luffy was his honesty and genuine spirit. Even after fighting him, Luffy bore no resentment. Instead, he embraced Bon as a friend because he could see his loyalty and sincerity, especially when Bon risked everything to help the Straw Hats escape the Marines. On to Buggy. Luffy first saw Buggy as a ridiculous clown. Loud, stupid, and most importantly, with a funny red nose. Don't forget that Buggy wanted to kill Luffy for calling him that. But oh well, you know Luffy, he's got no filter. He sees a red nose he thinks is funny, he's gonna openly make fun of it. Of course, they later stopped fighting and did work together when escaping Impel Down. And even though Buggy almost ended up killing him, Luffy never really bore any hatred towards him. Capone Bege is next. How does Luffy see him? Well, Luffy is crazy, so he literally saw this baby and thought it was Bege, to be honest. Click on this video next, where I am explaining the chances the One Piece characters will achieve their goals. Go on, check it out!